"Are you deaf, delivery boy? I said to leave it at the entrance." Jonathan Sterling's scream echoed through the Bel Air mansion as he yanked the bags from Marcus Thompson's hands with such force that the truffle sauce from the $400 dish splattered across the delivery man's shirt. "Look at this! Look at this!" Jonathan pointed at Marcus's face while 30 party guests turned their phones to record. "You contaminated my food with your disgusting sweat. See this stain on the bag? Sweat." Marcus kept his head down, hands trembling slightly as the sauce dripped down his only clean DoorDash shirt. 3 deliveries in 12 hours, $47 earned. The promise of a $300 tip on that order was what would pay for his mother's diabetes medication. "Do you know how much this order cost, you incompetent fool?" Jonathan threw a $100 bill on the ground at Marcus's feet. $1,200? And you come here sweaty, smelling like grease, wanting to step inside my house? The businessman stepped on the bill as Marcus bent down to pick it up. "Dad?" A small voice appeared at the door. Oliver, 8 years old, watched everything with wide eyes. "Why are you yelling at the man? Go inside, son. This is how you do not want to be in life." Marcus lifted his eyes for the first time. He met the child's gaze for 2 seconds. There was something in those young eyes, a sadness he recognized. "Your tip?" Jonathan opened the app in front of everyone. "Cancelled. And I'll give you 1 star. People like you shouldn't be delivering food to people like me." 3 hours later, this same man would be on his knees, begging Marcus to save the only thing that truly mattered in his life. But Marcus didn't know that yet. He only picked up the empty bags, turned his back to the laughter and recordings, and returned to his bike. In the rearview mirror, he saw the boy still standing at the door, watching. "Sorry," the child mouthed silently. Marcus started the engine and disappeared into the Beverly Hills night, never imagining that in just a few hours, fate would place in his hands the power to choose between vengeance and salvation. If you think you know how Marcus will react when he finds out whose life he must save, you have no idea what's coming. Leave your like now and subscribe, because what happens when the power shifts will make you question everything about forgiveness and revenge. The $200 notification flashed on Marcus Thompson's phone screen as he finished delivering an $18 order at Wendy's on Sunset Boulevard. His tired eyes had to blink 3 times to make sure he wasn't seeing it wrong. Mastro's Steakhouse in Beverly Hills, delivery to Bel Air, promised tip, $300. "Mom, I got a big order," he typed quickly on WhatsApp as he rushed to his faded red Honda CB300. "I'll buy your medicine today." The 6-mile trip to the restaurant was a race against time. The order had already been ready for 12 minutes. Every minute late could mean a bad rating, and Marcus couldn't afford to lose his 4.9-star average. It was Thursday, August 8th, and the thermometer still read 94 degrees even at 8 p.m. At Mastro's, the staff looked at him with that mix of pity and disdain he knew well. 7 special thermal bags, each one holding a fortune in prime cuts and lobsters. Marcus arranged them methodically in the bike's adapted trunk, triple-checking that everything was secure. The address led him up into the Bel Air Hills, where mansions hid behind gates that cost more than his 1-bedroom apartment in Koreatown. 455 Stone Canyon Road. Jonathan Sterling's house appeared like a fortress of glass and marble, with a party unfolding in the front garden. Mercedes, Bentleys, and Ferraris lined up like soldiers along the circular driveway. Marcus parked his bike in the most discreet spot he could find. Sweat trickled down his back, soaking the red DoorDash shirt he hand-washed every night. The bags weighed around 90 pounds total. He took a deep breath and rang the bell. "Service entrance is in the back," someone shouted from inside. Marcus circled the property, balancing the bags. His arms were already trembling when he finally reached the back door. A Latina maid opened it, looked at him with sympathy, and went to call the master. Jonathan Sterling stormed out like a thundercloud. 6'3", artificial tan, a Patek Philippe watch glinting under the pool lights. His blue eyes scanned Marcus from head to toe with barely disguised disgust. "You took 47 minutes. The app said 35. Mr. Sterling, the traffic on Sunset was—" "I don't care." Jonathan snatched the first bag from Marcus's hands violently. The abrupt move made truffle sauce spill down the side. "You contaminated my food. Look at this." He pointed to a bead of sweat on Marcus's forehead. 30 guests had gathered, all with iPhones raised, recording the scene. Marcus recognized a Fox News host, an Instagram influencer with 3 million followers, and at least 2 Lakers players. Do you know how much this cost? Jonathan opened one of the bags and dumped its contents onto the marble floor. A $400 Wagyu tenderloin rolled to Marcus's feet. $1,200. And you show up here stinking, sweating like an animal. Dad? The voice cut the air like a knife. Oliver Sterling, 8 years old, blonde like his father but with gentle eyes like his absent mother, appeared at the glass door. He wore Avengers pajamas and held an iPad. Back to your room, Oliver. Now. But the boy didn't move. His eyes were fixed on Marcus, who stood motionless as truffle sauce dripped down his shirt, his pants, pooling on the Italian marble. Why are you doing this to him, Dad? I'm teaching a lesson, son. This is the kind of people who exist to serve people like us. When they don't do it right, they need to learn. Jonathan opened the DoorDash app on his phone. He made sure to show the screen so all the guests could record. $300 tip? He laughed. Cancelled. Rating. 1 star. Comment. He typed out loud. Unhygienic, incompetent, and unfit delivery man. Should not be working with food. One of the guests, a blonde in a Versace dress, laughed loudly. John, you're awful. But she kept recording. Marcus finally lifted his eyes. For a moment, just a moment, he and Jonathan locked gazes. There was something in the delivery man's eyes. It wasn't anger, nor hatred. It was a silent dignity that made Jonathan hesitate for half a second. Take your bags and get off my property. If you're not gone in 30 seconds, I'm calling the police. Marcus slowly bent down, gathering the empty bags. His hands no longer trembled. As he stood up, Oliver took 2 steps forward. I'm sorry, the boy whispered. My dad isn't bad, he just forgets how to be good sometimes. Oliver, room, now. The boy ran inside, but not before Marcus saw tears in his eyes. Something about those tears disturbed him deeply. It wasn't just sadness, it was something more, something he couldn't quite name. Marcus walked back to his bike under the laughter and comments of the guests. Poor guy, someone said. Imagine having that job, another remarked. I'd die of shame, a third voice added. Starting the bike, Marcus looked one last time at the mansion. Oliver was at the second-floor window, watching. The boy gave a discreet wave. Marcus didn't wave back. 3 hours. In just 3 hours, that same boy would be blue, not breathing, floating face down in the same pool where the guests now toasted and laughed at his humiliation. Marcus took the last delivery of the night out of sheer desperation. $12 from Taco Bell to somewhere in Bel Air. It was 11:47 p.m., and he had made $59 the entire day, minus $25 for gas. His mother's diabetes medication cost $180. 3 days left until it was due. The address led him back to Stone Canyon Road. His stomach turned when he realized he'd have to pass in front of the Sterling mansion. But the destination was 2 houses down. A simple drop-off, leave at the door, no contact. The party at the Sterlings was still going. Fewer cars now, but loud music echoed down the deserted street. Marcus sped up to get past quickly, but then he heard it. A scream. Not a party scream. Pure panic. Can anyone swim? For God's sake, can anyone swim? Marcus braked hard. The voice was a woman's. Desperate. More shouts joined in. He looked through the open gate. About 15 people were gathered around the pool, all frozen, pointing at the water. At the bottom of the lit pool, a small figure floated lifelessly. Avengers pajamas. Marcus didn't think. He left his bike in the middle of the street, vaulted the 2-meter wall like it wasn't there. His 5 years as a lifeguard in Venice Beach kicked in like muscle memory. He sprinted past the paralyzed guests, some still clutching champagne glasses, others filming with their phones. Get out of the way! He dove in fully clothed, sneakers and all. The water was warm, tasting of chlorine and spilled alcohol. Oliver was at the bottom, 10 feet deep, his small body completely limp. Marcus reached him in 2 strokes, slipped an arm across the boy's chest, and kicked upward. When he surfaced, chaos erupted. A woman screamed hysterically. The Fox News host who had laughed at him hours earlier. 2 men argued about calling 911. A young woman vomited on the lawn. Call the ambulance now, Marcus shouted as he dragged Oliver to the deck. The boy's body was limp, heavy in that terrible way unconscious bodies are. Purple lips, blue skin, no breath. Marcus laid him on the wooden deck, tilted the child's head, opened the airway. Nothing. He began chest compressions, 30 compressions, 2 breaths. The small chest caved beneath his hands. He could feel the fragile ribs. Come on, kid, come on. 30 compressions, 2 breaths. The taste of chlorine and vomit as he gave mouth to mouth. Someone sobbed beside him. Another person prayed in Spanish. How long was he under? Marcus asked without stopping compressions. I don't know. 5 minutes? 10? Nobody saw him fall in. A man in a suit replied. 10 minutes. Brain death starts at 6. Marcus pressed harder. Sweat mixed with pool water. His ribs ached from the dive. 30 compressions. 2 breaths. Please, Oliver, please. Then he heard it. The roar of a Lamborghini Urus pulling up at high speed. Tires screeching, doors slamming. Where's my son? Oliver! Jonathan Sterling stormed into the yard like a hurricane. He froze at the sight, his son purple on the ground. And Marcus Thompson, the delivery man he had humiliated 3 hours earlier, desperately performing CPR. Recognition hit like a hammer. Jonathan's eyes widened. His mouth opened, but no sound came. He collapsed to his knees beside Marcus. Oliver, oh my God, Oliver. Back off, don't interfere. Marcus barked without looking at him. 30 compressions, 2 breaths. It's you. You're... Shut up and call 911 again. Jonathan obeyed, his hands trembling so badly he could barely hold the phone. My son, please. He's everything I have. Please. 4 minutes of CPR. Marcus's arms burned. His DoorDash shirt, still stained with truffle sauce, was soaked. 30 compressions, 2 breaths. And then, like a miracle, Oliver coughed. Water spewed from his mouth. Marcus quickly rolled him onto his side as the boy vomited pool water, coughing violently, his small body convulsing in the fight to breathe. Oliver! Oliver! Jonathan tried to grab him, but Marcus pushed him back. No, let him expel everything. Oliver vomited more water, then began to cry, the most beautiful sound anyone there had ever heard. His eyes opened, unfocused, searching. Dad? I'm here, son. I'm here. Then Oliver's gaze landed on Marcus. Even dazed, even at only 8 years old, there was recognition. The man, the food man. Ambulance sirens finally wailed in the distance. Marcus kept Oliver in the recovery position, monitoring his breathing. The boy gripped his hand with surprising strength. You came back. I knew you were good. I told my dad, you were good. Jonathan Sterling was frozen, looking from his son to Marcus. The man he had humiliated, made clean food off the floor, thrown out of his property like a dog, now held his son's hand, having just pulled him back from death. I don't, Jonathan began. Paramedics, Marcus yelled as the ambulance screeched to a stop. Here, 8-year-old drowning victim submerged approximately 8 minutes, CPR successful, conscious and responsive. The paramedics took over, placing Oliver on a stretcher, checking vitals. One looked at Marcus. You saved his life. 2 more minutes and it would have been too late. As they loaded Oliver into the ambulance, the boy fought. I want him to come. The man, he has to come. Marcus looked at Jonathan, who was wrecked, tears streaking down his tanned face. Please, Jonathan whispered. Please, come with us. Marcus could have said no, could have turned his back just as Jonathan had on him, could have left the man to suffer alone in the agony of almost losing a son. But Oliver clutched his hand as if his life depended on it. I'll go, Marcus said simply. He climbed into the ambulance, still soaked, still in the truffle-stained shirt, holding the hand of a child whose father had shattered his dignity 3 hours earlier. Jonathan followed right after, and when his eyes met Marcus's, there was something broken in them, something beyond gratitude or regret. It was the look of a man who had just understood what truly mattered in life. The ride to Cedars-Sinai Medical Center was the longest 15 minutes of Jonathan Sterling's life. Oliver kept his eyes locked on Marcus, who was monitoring his vitals alongside the paramedic. With every jolt of the ambulance, Jonathan flinched, glancing back and forth between his son and the man who had saved him. What's your name? Oliver asked weakly, still gripping Marcus's hand. Marcus Thompson. I'm Oliver, but you already knew that, right? My dad shouted my name a bunch. The boy coughed up a little water. Why did you come back? I didn't come back. I was making another delivery. Liar. You came back because you're a hero, just like Spider-Man. He gets humiliated too, but still saves everyone. Jonathan swallowed hard. His son's innocent words cut like knives. At the hospital, the medical team took over immediately. Dr. Raymond Chen, pediatric pulmonologist, made a quick assessment while nurses hooked Oliver up to monitors. Marcus tried to step away, but Oliver wouldn't let go of his hand. "Don't leave. I need to let the doctors work, champ. Promise you won't leave?" Marcus looked at Jonathan, who stood silent in the corner. "I promise. I'll be right outside." In the pediatric ICU waiting room, Marcus finally sat down. His clothes were still wet, leaving a puddle on the hospital floor. He checked his phone, 47 unread messages from other delivery drivers asking why he had abandoned the order. His rating had dropped to 4.2 stars. 3 customer complaints. Marcus. Jonathan stood before him, looking like he'd aged 10 years in an hour. He held 2 cups of coffee. "I don't even know how to—" "No need." Marcus didn't take the coffee. "Yes, I do. What I did today, there's no excuse. No forgiveness. But you saved my son. You could have just kept driving after what I did. Why did you stop?" "Because a child was dying. Even though it was my child." Marcus finally met his eyes. "Oliver isn't guilty of having you as a father." The blow landed. Jonathan staggered as if he'd been punched. He collapsed into the chair beside him. "I canceled your tip. $300. Destroyed your rating. Humiliated you in front of everyone. And you saved the only thing that matters in my life. I used to be a lifeguard, it's reflex. No, it's more than that." Jonathan rubbed his face with both hands. "Do you want to know where I was when Oliver fell in?" Marcus didn't answer. "On a call with investors in Hong Kong. My son was drowning and I was arguing about profit margins. The nanny had left. I told the guests to keep an eye on him. 30 adults, and not one paid attention to an 8-year-old child. Mr. Sterling." A woman came running. Rebecca Sterling, Oliver's mother, back early from a business trip in New York. Blonde, elegant, even disheveled. She had taken the first flight upon hearing the news. "Where is he? How's Oliver?" "Stable, undergoing tests." Jonathan stood. "Rebecca, this is Marcus. He saved Oliver." Rebecca turned to Marcus, ready to thank him, but something in her husband's face made her pause. "What's going on, Jonathan?" "Show her," Marcus said calmly. "The video. Show her what you did 3 hours before your son almost died." Jonathan went pale. "How did you—" "The influencer, a Bel Air Barbie. She posted it to her stories. Already has 200,000 views." Rebecca pulled out her phone, found the account. There it was. Jonathan humiliating Marcus, throwing food on the ground, canceling the tip. The comments were a mix of support and outrage. The sound of Rebecca's slap echoed down the corridor. "You did this? You did this to the man who saved our son?" "Rebecca, Our son almost died because you were working, as always. And the only decent person who cared enough to save him was someone you treated like trash." "Mom?" Oliver had been moved to a regular room. He stood at the doorway, leaning on a nurse, searching for Marcus. "You're still here." Marcus approached, kneeling to the boy's height. "I promised, didn't I? Did my dad apologize to you?" Silence was the answer. Oliver looked at his father. "You always say real men admit when they're wrong. You were wrong, Dad, really wrong." "Oliver, that's an adult matter." "No, it's not." The boy began to cry. "I saw everything. I was ashamed of you. You're mean to everyone who doesn't have money. To Rosa, who cleans the house, to Kevin, who does the yard, to everyone." Rebecca hugged him. "Shh, sweetheart. Don't upset yourself. I jumped in the pool on purpose." The silence was deafening. Everyone stared at him. "What did you say?" Jonathan whispered. "I can swim, Dad. You never noticed because you're never there, but I can swim. I jumped because I wanted you to be scared. I wanted you to stop working and realize I exist, but then my head hit the edge and everything went dark." Marcus stood slowly. The revelation changed everything and nothing at once. "You could have died," he said. "I know. It was stupid. But my dad, he only cares when things go wrong. When I get an A at school, he doesn't even notice. When I score in soccer, he's not there. But if I get hurt, then he shows up." Jonathan dropped into the nearest chair, his face in his hands. Rebecca wept quietly. "How many times," Oliver continued, now looking at Marcus, "how many times I pretended to be sick so he'd stay home? How many times I broke something just to get his attention? Tonight I went too far." "Tonight," Marcus said, "you almost lost everything to prove a point that didn't need proving." "What do you mean?" Your father loves you. He just forgot how to show it. Just like he forgot how to treat people with dignity. But do you know how I know he loves you? How? Because when he arrived and saw you on the ground, he completely forgot I was the delivery guy he humiliated. You were the only thing that existed, the only thing that mattered. Oliver looked at his father, who now cried openly, silent tears slipping through his fingers. Dad? Jonathan lifted his face. Forgive me, son. Forgive me for everything. Oliver ran into his arms. Rebecca joined them. Marcus began to step away quietly. Where are you going? Oliver asked. Home. You all need to talk as a family. You're family now. You saved me. In my book, that makes you family. Jonathan stood, still holding Oliver. He's right. Please, Marcus. At least let me cover your medical bills, your ruined clothes, your lost day of work. I don't want your money, Mr. Sterling. Then what do you want? Anything. Please. Marcus stopped at the door, turning one last time. I want you to remember tonight every time you meet someone like me, a delivery man, a cleaner, a waiter. Remember we are human. Remember we have families. Remember we save lives, even when we're treated like nothing. He left, leaving the Sterlings embraced in the hospital hallway, carrying the weight of a lesson no money could ever buy. Marcus was in the Cedars-Sinai Medical Center parking lot, trying to get his bike to start, when the hospital security guard tapped him on the shoulder. Mr. Thompson, the Sterling family is requesting your presence. It's urgent. I already said I don't want their money. It's not about that. The boy, he won't stop crying. He only wants to talk to you. Marcus sighed. It was 2:47 a.m. His mother had sent 3 messages asking where he was. Her medicine would run out tomorrow, but something about Oliver kept him from just leaving. In room 314, he found an unexpected scene. Oliver sat on the bed, hugging his knees. Rebecca held a folder of documents. Jonathan was in the corner, unrecognizable. The powerful man from 3 hours earlier now looked broken, but there was someone else. A woman in her 60s with an iPad, reviewing what seemed to be security cameras. Marcus! Oliver jumped off the bed, running to hug him. You came back. Hey, champ. The guard said you were crying. I lied so he'd say that. Sorry, but you need to see something. The woman with the iPad introduced herself. Dorothy Chen, head of residential security for the Sterlings. Oliver asked me to retrieve all recordings from the last 6 months. Why? Oliver took the iPad and showed Marcus. Because I wanted to prove to my dad who he's become. Look, the video showed Jonathan 6 months ago helping a Hispanic delivery man carry heavy packages, tipping $200, chatting amicably. That was my dad before. Oliver swiped to another video. 5 months ago. Jonathan yelling at a gardener about leaves in the pool. 4 months ago. Humiliating a cleaning worker for using the main house bathroom. 3 months ago. Making a furniture delivery man wait 3 hours in the sun without even offering water. 2 months ago. Calling the police because a pizza delivery guy looked suspicious parked out front checking the address. 1 month ago. Throwing food in the trash in front of a delivery person because it arrived 5 minutes late. Today. Marcus. Worse every time, Oliver said. Crueler every time. Do you know when it changed? Rebecca answered. When he closed the deal with Blackstone Capital. $100 million in investment. Money changes people, Marcus said simply. No. Jonathan spoke for the first time, his voice hoarse. Money reveals who you really are, and I revealed myself to be a monster. Jonathan bought 3 companies in recent months. Rebecca continued. He fired 40% of the employees at each. He called it resource optimization. They were fathers with families, Jonathan murmured. And I didn't even blink. Oliver went to a backpack in the corner and took out a notebook. I researched you, Marcus. Sorry, but I did. Oliver, Rebecca scolded. No, Mom. He needs to know that we know. Oliver opened the notebook. Marcus Thompson, 34 years old, former professional lifeguard in Venice Beach, saved 17 people in 5 years, City Medal of Honor, left the profession to care for his mother with diabetes. Patricia Thompson, 58, former nurse, lost her health insurance when the hospital where she worked went bankrupt. Marcus froze. How did you? I'm good with computers. I found news stories about you. Venice Beach hero becomes delivery driver to care for sick mother. It was 2 years ago. You saved 17 people before me, Oliver continued. 18 now. And my dad treated you like trash. Oliver, that's enough. Marcus tried to intervene. No, he needs to hear it. The boy turned to his father. Do you know how much Marcus makes in a day? $60, $70 if he's lucky. Do you know how much his mother's medicine costs? $180 every 3 days. Do you know why he took your order? For the $300 tip you promised and canceled. How do you know all this? Marcus asked, genuinely surprised. Because after you left earlier, I hacked the DoorDash app. I saw your history. I saw your ratings. I saw how many rich customers treated you badly. I saw how many times you were humiliated. That's an invasion of privacy, Oliver. It is. And do you know what else I found out? That you donate 10% of what you earn to an animal shelter. That you deliver food for free to an 89-year-old man every Thursday. That you have a 7-year-old daughter who lives with her mother in Portland and you send every extra cent to her. Marcus stood up. That's enough. That's nobody's business. It is. Oliver started crying again. It is our business because you're better than all of us put together. And my dad needs to see that. Jonathan approached Marcus. I saw the pool security footage. I saw you abandon your bike, jump the wall. I saw the determination on your face after what I did. You had every right to keep going. Why did you save my son? I've already answered that. No, you haven't. Not completely. Marcus took a deep breath. Because 2 years ago my daughter Sophia drowned in a hotel pool. I wasn't there, I was working. A stranger saved her. A rich banker who was staying there. I never managed to thank him properly. He disappeared before I got to the hospital. Silence filled the room. So when I saw Oliver, I saw Sophia. And it didn't matter who his father was. What mattered was that a child needed help. Rebecca began to cry. Jonathan fell to his knees. Forgive me. Please. Forgive me. Don't kneel. Marcus lifted him up. I don't want your performative forgiveness. I don't want your guilt money. I want real change. Then help me change. Jonathan begged. Teach me to be the man my son deserves. I can't teach you what you already know. You were decent 6 months ago. Money didn't change you. It gave you permission to be cruel. Take that permission away from yourself. Oliver took Marcus's hand and placed it on top of his father's. Promise, Dad. In front of Marcus. Promise you'll be good again. I promise, son. I swear on the life you saved. Mr. Thompson. Rebecca stepped closer. I'm a lawyer, specializing in labor law. I know you don't want money, but let me at least resolve your legal issues. I saw you have 3 unpaid traffic tickets. Let me handle that. Mrs. Sterling. Rebecca, please. It's the least I can do. Oliver tugged on Marcus's sleeve. There's one more thing. The best part. He went to his father's phone and opened Twitter. The humiliation video had gone viral. 5 million views. But Oliver scrolled to the latest comments. Look, someone recorded you saving the boy. Posted an hour ago. The video showed Marcus jumping the wall, diving in, performing CPR. The comments were surreal. It's the same guy who was humiliated. He saved the son of the man who humiliated him. A real hero. Does anyone know his name? Marcus Thompson, hero of Venice Beach. You're famous, Oliver smiled. In the right way. Marcus's phone started ringing. Unknown number. Hello? Mr. Thompson, this is CNN. We'd like an interview about what happened tonight. He hung up. The phone rang again. Fox News. He hung up. Again. ABC, then NBC, then Ellen DeGeneres. You're going to have to deal with this, Rebecca said. The story is too extraordinary to ignore. I just want to go home. Then we'll protect you, Jonathan said. It's the least I can do. Dorothy, escort Mr. Thompson home. Make sure the press doesn't bother him. Yes, Mr. Sterling. And Marcus. Jonathan took a card from his pocket and wrote something on the back. This is my personal number. When you're ready to talk about how I can truly make amends, call me. Not with money, with actions. Marcus took the card, slipped it into his pocket. Can I hug you? Oliver asked. A real hug? Marcus knelt and hugged the boy. Oliver whispered in his ear, Thank you for saving me. And thank you for saving my dad too. He wasn't breathing on the inside, you know? Just like I wasn't breathing in the pool. When Marcus left the room, Rebecca caught up with him in the hallway. Marcus, wait. You're right that money can't buy forgiveness. But there's something you need to know. Jonathan is going to donate $50 million to a support fund for delivery workers and service workers. He'll announce it tomorrow, with or without your approval. Why are you telling me this? Because I want you to know that what you did today didn't save just one life. It will impact thousands, and it started with your choice to be better than all of us. Marcus nodded and walked down the hallway, leaving behind a family transformed by an act of kindness that defied all logic and notions of deserving. 6 days had passed since the incident. Marcus tried to return to his normal routine, but it was impossible. Reporters camped outside his Koreatown apartment building. His DoorDash rating shot up to a perfect 5 stars. Every customer wanted their order delivered by the hero of Bel Air. Tips tripled, but Marcus remained the same. Red DoorDash shirt, old Honda CB300, 1-bedroom apartment with his mother. It was Wednesday, August 14th when his phone rang. Oliver. Marcus. You need to come here now. What happened? Are you okay? I'm fine. But my dad, he did something. You need to see it. Marcus arrived at the Bel Air mansion 40 minutes later. What he saw left him speechless. On the front lawn, where the fateful party had taken place, there was now a crowd. But not socialites. Delivery workers. Hundreds of them. DoorDash, Uber Eats, Postmates, Amazon, all in uniform. Jonathan was among them, not on a stage but on the ground, at the same level as everyone else, wearing a red DoorDash shirt. Marcus! Oliver ran to him. Look what my dad did. Rebecca approached. He spent the last 6 days tracking down every delivery worker he mistreated in the past 2 years. Every cleaner, gardener, service worker. He invited them all here. For what? For this. Jonathan saw Marcus. He walked over, and then, in front of everyone, knelt down. No, get up. Marcus tried to lift him. Let him, Marcus, said a familiar voice. It was Carlos, the Hispanic delivery worker from the 6-month-old video. He did this with each of us, individually, asked forgiveness from each one. Jonathan stood. Marcus, you said you didn't want guilt money, so this isn't that. Every person here will receive equity in my company, not charity. Real equity, a voice in decisions. 1% of Sterling Enterprises divided among all the service workers I ever humiliated. That must be worth 50 million. Yes, but it's not about the value. It's about recognizing that you build this city as much as I do. More even. A murmur ran through the crowd. There's more. Oliver tugged Marcus's hand. Come see. Behind the house, where the near-drowning pool had been, everything had changed. The pool was covered, and in its place, a community center was being built. Marcus Thompson Community Center, Oliver read from the plaque. For kids in the community to learn to swim, free. My dad will pay for teachers, lifeguards, everything. You didn't have to. Yes, I did, Jonathan interrupted. Do you know how many kids drown in Los Angeles because they have nowhere to learn to swim? 200 a year. You were a lifeguard in Venice Beach. You saved 18 people. Now you'll save hundreds, thousands. I didn't ask for this. I know. That's exactly why it has to exist. People like you never ask for anything, you only give. It's time you received. Patricia Thompson appeared at the back door, supported by a private nurse. Mom, what are you doing here? Mr. Sterling sent a van to get me, with medical care. Marcus, he paid for my treatment, he won't take it back. Jonathan, this is too much. No, Marcus, it doesn't even come close to enough. But there's one more thing. The most important one. He signaled Oliver, who brought an envelope. This isn't mine to give, it's Oliver's. The boy handed Marcus the envelope. Inside was a drawing. Marcus and Oliver in the pool, but different. In the drawing, they were swimming together, smiling, as friends. I drew how I wished it had been. Not you saving me. Us swimming together like friends. We are friends, champ. So will you accept? To be director of the center? To teach swimming? My dad will pay you a fair salary. You don't have to deliver food anymore. Marcus looked around. The delivery workers all watching. His mother smiling through tears. Rebecca, nodding encouragingly. Jonathan, hopeful, but respectful. And Oliver, the boy who had changed everything. On one condition, Marcus said. Anything, Jonathan rushed. You'll work with me every Saturday, not as a boss, as an assistant. Cleaning the pool, organizing equipment, doing what I say. Deal. And Oliver will be my first student. But I already know how to swim. No, you know how to drown to get attention. I'll teach you to swim to save lives. Like a real lifeguard. Oliver leapt into Marcus's arms. "This is gonna be awesome." The crowd of delivery workers began clapping. Slowly at first, then a thunderous wave of applause and cheers. Carlos shouted, "Speech, speech!" Marcus climbed onto a chair, looking out at all those faces. People like him, invisible until needed. "I'm not a hero. I did what anyone here would do. The difference is I got the chance. You're all heroes. Every delivery through dangerous traffic, every staircase climbed, every rude customer endured with a smile. You are the backbone of this city." He paused, looking at Jonathan. "And as for Mr. Sterling, everyone deserves a second chance. He messed up badly, but he's trying to make it right. Not just with money, but with real change. So I accept. I accept leading this center, but not for him. For Oliver. For every kid who deserves to learn to swim. For every mother like mine who deserves decent care. For all of you who deserve respect." The celebration that followed was nothing like the party 6 days earlier. No champagne, no luxury cars. There was pizza, soda, and real people celebrating a real victory. At sunset, Marcus sat on the edge of the covered pool with Oliver. "Marcus, can I tell you a secret?" "Of course. When I was sinking, when everything went dark, I saw a light, and I thought, if I survive, I'll make my dad be good again. Then you showed up, like the universe heard me. Maybe it did. Do you believe in miracles?" Marcus looked around, his mother laughing with Rebecca, Jonathan serving pizza to delivery workers, the plaque for the future community center, Oliver beside him alive and transformed. "I believe in choices, Oliver. I chose to stop that night. I chose to jump. I chose to save you. Your dad chose to change. You chose to forgive. They're not miracles. They're choices. And the right choices at the right time can feel like miracles. Then I choose something." "What?" "I choose that you'll be like my uncle. Not by blood, but by heart. Can you?" Marcus hugged the boy. "Yes, champ. Yes, I can." 3 months later, the Marcus Thompson Community Center's opening had national coverage. Jonathan Sterling, unrecognizable from so much work in the sun, cut the ribbon alongside Marcus. Oliver was the first to jump into the pool, swimming perfectly under the proud eyes of his new mentor. The humiliation video still existed online, now with 50 million views. But there was a new viral video. Jonathan Sterling cleaning bathrooms at the community center, Marcus Thompson teaching 30 underprivileged kids to swim, and Oliver Sterling, the boy who pretended to drown and ended up saving his father's soul. In Marcus's office at the center, 3 things decorated the wall: his Venice Beach lifeguard medal, Oliver's drawing, and a framed photo from the night he saved the boy. Underneath, a simple plaque read, "Kindness doesn't choose who to save. That's why it's kindness." And every morning before the center opened, Marcus received the same message from Oliver. "Good morning, Uncle. Are we going to save someone today?" And the reply was always the same. "Always, champ. Always." The truffle-stained shirt was framed and hung at the center's entrance with a plaque. Reminder, dignity doesn't stain, it only reveals itself. Marcus Thompson never delivered food again, but he saved 47 more children from drowning over the next 2 years. Jonathan Sterling became California's greatest advocate for workers' rights, and Oliver Sterling grew up to become the youngest certified lifeguard in Los Angeles at just 12 years old. But that's another story. This one ends here, at the edge of a pool, with a humiliated man who chose to save, a rich man who chose to change, and a boy who, by pretending to drown, taught everyone the true meaning of breathing. If you too believe that a single act of kindness can transform entire generations, leave your like now and subscribe, because every week I bring real stories that prove the people society most ignores are often the very ones capable of saving us when we need it most. Click now on the next video on your screen. See you there.